Has Bishop Strickland been forbidden to celebrate the liturgy, the Mass, in his own territory in Tyler, Texas? As Bishop Emeritus of Tyler, he is allowed to celebrate, usually, both privately and possibly even publicly within his former diocese. But there are reports saying that he has been forbidden to do so. Is that true? Let's find out what the truth is. But let me first show you the claim that is being made. This started with Lifesite News. John Henry Weston posted this. Breaking: Bishop Strickland barred from saying Mass in Diocese of Tyler, Texas. You'll notice they even tagged Bishop Strickland. And they say, hey, read more about it here in their article. Wow. Okay. I thought that was interesting. I said, let me take a look at this. I kind of want to look a little bit more into it. Well, turns out fake news yet once again from Lifesite News. Bishop Joseph Strickland, according to Catholic Vote, who spoke to him personally, who is currently on a personal spiritual retreat, confirmed via text message to Catholic Vote the stories claiming he has been barred from celebrating Mass in the territory of the Diocese of Tyler are not true. Early on December 7th, Lifesite News published a story titled Bishop Strickland Barred from Saying Mass in Diocese of Tyler, Texas. Lifesite News has learned that Bishop Joseph Strickland has been barred from saying Mass in the Diocese of Tyler, Texas, the story stated. The article claimed that at a recent staff meeting, employees were reportedly informed that while Strickland cannot offer Mass in the diocese, he may do so elsewhere. The story also claimed that the source is known to Lifesite News. We've heard this once or twice before, haven't we? Although Strickland is on a 2-week personal retreat at a Benedictine abbey in Oklahoma, until December 16th, he reached out to Catholic Vote with a brief but unequivocal text message. Quote, tell them I have received no such instruction, end quote. Not only that, other sources have also confirmed this. Not only are we hearing it again from the horse's mouth, Bishop Strickland, but also others have confirmed. For instance, take a look at this from The Pillar. Strickland not barred from offering Mass, sources say. Bishop Joseph Strickland has not been banned from publicly celebrating Mass in his former diocese of Tyler, Texas. Sources in the diocese have confirmed, in addition to the bishop himself. The bishop, who was removed as head of Tyler Diocese last month by Pope Francis, was asked to consider temporarily refraining from publicly celebrating Mass, sources said, but not prohibited from public celebrations of the Mass. So he was asked to consider temporarily refraining from publicly celebrating Mass. He was just asked, but he was not prohibited. The Pillar has confirmed that Strickland has celebrated Mass privately in the diocese since his removal. Reports surfaced online Thursday that Strickland had been formally banned from publicly saying Mass in his former diocese. The website Lifesite News reported December 7th the diocesan staff had been told Strickland was banned entirely from saying Mass in the diocese. Citing a known source in the diocese, Lifesite did not report who issued the supposed ban, presumably either the apostolic administrator of the diocese, Bishop Vasquez, or the Holy See, and said it could not confirm if Strickland had been made aware of it. But the Pillar confirmed Thursday that in a meeting of diocesan staff and clergy, Vasquez explained that Strickland had been asked to temporarily limit his public presence in the diocese. You see how they twist things from being asked to limit his public presence in the diocese, they twisted and run with, he has been barred from celebrating Mass. And it continues, one Catholic present at the meeting said that Strickland had been encouraged to temporarily refrain from offering Mass in the Tyler diocese. Vasquez also said during the meeting that Strickland will see ongoing support from the diocese and be treated by the diocese as an emeritus bishop. Strickland lives in a church-owned residence in Tyler Diocese, but is reportedly planning to move from the area, in part to allow his eventual successor room to lead the diocese, sources told the Pillar. The bishop told the Pillar last month that he did not want to be a distraction in his former diocese or cause division among Catholics over his presence there, which is an honorable approach that he would take here. But you know what? It didn't stop there. Guess what? Yeah, so, well, of course, as you can imagine, Raymond Arroyo and Father Gerald Murray are hard at work peddling lies. And of course, it's this particular one that they decided to peddle just 2 hours ago. Let's watch it together. Oddly enough, they were not able to confirm that this is not true when even regular people like myself and even commenters on the website were able to confirm that this isn't true. Again, oddly enough, an actual news source couldn't do that. I wonder why. Well, let's watch it together and let's see what they have to say.
Bishop Joseph Strickland is barred from...
Let me fix the playback.
Bishop Joseph Strickland is barred from saying Mass in his former diocese.
So, barred. And not even just it's reportedly said. I mean, they're just outright saying, hey, he's barred. This is a fact.
The Vatican financial scandal.
They go on to other news reports. And let's go straight to the 1 minute mark where they are going to repeat this claim and talk about it at length. Let's get their commentary.
An ex post. I'm at Raymond Arroyo. Lots to cover. Let's get right to it. As we mentioned earlier, Bishop Strickland, the deposed bishop of his Tyler diocese, has now been forbidden from saying Mass there. I want to get right to that story with...
You hear it again.
Of course, our papal posse member and canon lawyer, Father Gerald Murray. He joins us from the Archdiocese of New York. Well, actually, you're in Boston today, but that's where you hail from. So, Father, I want to start with that breaking news. Lifesite News is reporting that Bishop Joseph Strickland, removed by Pope Francis from his leadership of the diocese.
Notice that he is getting his information from Lifesite News, the most unreliable source imaginable.
Diocese of Tyler. On November 11th, is now barred from saying Mass in that diocese. According to the report, diocesan employees were informed of the decision at a recent staff meeting, and that while Strickland is not permitted to say Masses in Tyler, he is free to celebrate Mass elsewhere. I know the details are still forthcoming and things are scant at this moment, but what do you...
The details are forthcoming and the information is scant. Yeah, no. Yeah, it's a little bit more than that. You just bought into lies without any kind of real proof, and you're now peddling it on your show like you usually do.
What do you make of this development, Father?
If this is true, Raymond, this is very serious, because to prohibit the exercise of the power of orders, which is to celebrate Mass, preach the gospel, to prohibit them to the former bishop of a diocese within his own diocese can only be done as an ecclesiastical penalty. The bishop does not have the right to prohibit him from celebrating Mass in his diocese or anywhere else unless it's proven that he's done something which is a canonical crime. And this is in Canon 1336. It's a penalty to prohibit some. And that has to come as a result of a juridical or an administrative process, which means the bishop just can't decide he can't say Mass here any longer. He's got to engage in the canonical process to, number one, introduce the complaint. There's got to be a reason, some crime that the bishop did, Bishop Strickland, that is.
Right.
And then he has to investigate. And Bishop Strickland has the right to respond, the right to self-defense. I'm very concerned because this is going way beyond the powers of a diocesan administrator. Does this mean that Bishop Strickland, if he resides in the diocese, can't even celebrate Mass privately in his own chapel? I hope not. But what's to prohibit him from saying Mass in a parish if the pastor would like him to come? This is very concerning. I think it's overstepping the canonical role of a diocesan administrator without any proof that Bishop Strickland's done something that deserves this punishment.
Do you hear how wild this is? He actually demands proof that Strickland did something wrong, but he doesn't demand the same level of proof to even comment on this fake news. He just decided to roll with it and gives a little caveat. Well, if this is true, really? So you didn't have access to the same sources that the Pillar and Catholic Vote had access to? Do you really mean to tell me that Raymond Arroyo or Father Murray couldn't directly contact Strickland and confirm this directly with him? I've interviewed Strickland on my show multiple times, and I'm a nobody. So if I'm able to get in touch with the guy through his secretary, they're definitely able to do so through his secretary and probably directly. So why didn't they do that? That's a little odd, don't you think? But it doesn't stop there.
Well, for the laity looking in, for me, Father, my first question is, why, on what grounds is he barred from saying Mass in his former diocese, but he can go outside of that diocese and say Mass? I mean, have you ever seen a canonical procedure like this before? I mean, I know people's clergy's faculties are taken away, but in that case, they can't perform the sacraments anywhere. What about this regional prohibition? Have you ever seen that before?
This is hilarious that they're actually speculating about something that isn't actually even happening. They're sitting here trying to armchair this thing and critique it. And how does this work? He's been forbidden in Tyler, but not elsewhere. And none of it's true. This is laughably atrocious.
No, that's strange. A diocesan bishop, if he believes that Bishop Strickland is unrepentant for a canonical crime he's committed, then he needs to advise neighboring dioceses and basically make a universal declaration that Bishop Strickland is not fit to say Mass in my diocese and shouldn't be allowed to say Mass in your diocese. Now, this looks like the diocesan administrator, Bishop Vasquez, just doesn't want Bishop Strickland to celebrate Mass publicly, but is acting beyond the law because, where's the decree? What's the stated reason? Since this is a public...
Do you hear how they're throwing the apostolic administrator, this other bishop? Do you hear how they're just throwing him under the bus, assuming this is all true, running his name in the ground, and it's not even true? The bishop himself has told us what's going on. Vasquez, the apostolic administrator, and the Bishop Strickland himself has said, I've received no such instruction. But notice how they're just throwing this apostolic administrator under the bus, peddling this smut.
Matter, by the way. It's announced to the people, and therefore the pastors know it. It has to be based on a justification. And this goes back to the way Bishop Strickland was treated, sad to say, by the Holy See. He was given no decree which listed the canonical crimes he was found guilty of.
Here we go again. Murray is always out of touch with the facts. It's so interesting that it was literally on this very show, the world over, where Strickland sets the record straight and corrects this misinformation that Father Murray is engaging in here.
that resulted in being deprived of his diocese. So I think this is just unfortunately making the situation worse from the point of view of non-observance of canon law and placing Bishop Strickland in a bad light, when in fact Bishop Strickland has done, as far as I know, and I think most people would agree, no canonical crime's been committed. He said,
really? Well, well, maybe Father Murray should take a look at some of my videos.
Simply had disagreements with the Holy See, with Pope Francis and his associates.
It was just simply a disagreement that he had. That was it. There was nothing else to it, right? There was no other, side to the story, right? Wow. Why is Father Murray again always so behind with the facts?
But since when is disagreement a crime? In fact, it should be welcome in the church. Disagreements promote harmony because we try to resolve them.
Yeah, that's what it is, Father Murray. He was just persecuted for disagreeing, because disagreeing is a crime. Yeah, that's not a straw man at all.
Yeah, well, we just celebrated St. Nicholas's feast day. He and Arius might have had a little disagreement, but we didn't throw.
Yeah, maybe somebody should let him know that actually isn't historically accurate, but okay. All right, you know what this actually reminds me of? This thing from Pope Francis, where I think he was referring specifically to Raymond Arroyo's segment, The World Over. This is something that was reported in 2021 on September 21st. Pope Francis has lashed out at EWTN, saying they are the work of the devil. Now, I don't think that he's referring to the whole network. He definitely didn't say EWTN. And in fact, EWTN has a lot of great stuff, so you can't throw them all together. EWTN has all kinds of awesome shows. In fact, yours truly is occasionally on EWTN, so you can't lump it all together. And Pope Francis certainly did not do so. So I don't know why this report did that, but you'll see. During a meeting with Jesuits in Slovakia, the pontiff spoke of a large Catholic television channel that has no hesitation in continually speaking ill of the Pope, although he did not name the network. And there you go. The reference clearly was to EWTN. No, I think it was clearly to a show, and that is clearly Raymond Arroyo's segment, not the whole channel. Pope Francis says, I personally deserve attacks and insults because I'm a sinner, the Pope said, but the church does not deserve them. Amen. Pope Francis said that he had said this to some of them, apparently indicating that he had lodged complaints with some representatives of the American television network. But I did find it interesting that he even notes that the particular person or group that he is referring to, which again I think is Arroyo and his show, is doing the work of the devil. I thought, wow, that's pretty on the nose, isn't it? Because what does the devil do? He bears false witness. He accuses the brethren. He lies and he slanders. Well, isn't that the constant theme that we're getting from Raymond Arroyo and the world over? Whether he intends to lie or not is irrelevant. He is peddling lies frequently, as are many others, unfortunately. And again, this was just so easy to find out that it's not true. Again, it's laughable that even a commenter, a random commenter, knows that it's not true. Now, how is it that a random commenter or a random like myself can verify that this is fake news and these guys can't? That just seems odd, don't you think? Or is it not, in fact, the case that there is a disposition here to report anything that would be critical of Pope Francis and anybody who is, from their perspective, against their people and the people that they think are on the right side? I want you to ask this question. How often do you think this happens with Raymond Arroyo and others? I've documented it on this channel many times. This is a habitual transgression. This is a habitual offense that we're seeing from guys like this. It's not a one-off thing. I could maybe see that happening as a one-off thing. We all make mistakes, but this is habitual. This isn't, again, a one-time issue. And if they are failing this miserably on this piece of information, imagine how often they have failed in their comments about Pope Francis, in their reports about Pope Francis, in their criticisms of Pope Francis. I can tell you, they have failed miserably. So I hope you can see this, see how atrocious this was, and see how very clearly there was very little to no effort to really get to the truth here. Just a rush to report this fake news that just came out today. And if this is their disposition, ask how many other times have they done the same thing because of that disposition. And once you start to uncover events and issues, you'll start to see, this is a frequent thing. And therefore, a lot of these media outlets are, unfortunately, unreliable. It's pretty incredible, however, to observe this and to really see this. I want y'all to certainly pray that we get better as Catholics, because I was looking through the comment section and saying how many people in the comments from this video were scandalized by this report. They were piling on the Pope, trashing him and slandering him because of this fake news. And what does that tell you? It tells you this stuff has real consequences. It impacts real people. These lies hurt real people. And whether or not they know that they're peddling lies, they should know better. And they should know that it's fake news. And if they don't, well, isn't that the problem? After all, they are supposed to be professionals. Again, people are being impacted by this stuff. And we're seeing it left and right, people leaving the church constantly, or prevented from coming to the church constantly because of this kind of material. We need to pray that this ends. But we also need to start holding these people accountable, because after all, who's holding them accountable? Is there going to be any kind of retraction from the world over? Are they going to set the record straight? It would be nice if they did, but I guess while they're at it, they have to set the record straight on numerous other false claims and many other slanders. Is Lifesite News also going to set the record straight? Again, I guess they'll have to then do the same for years of other claims that turned out to be fake news. Truly sad to see this. Help share this on social media so people get to see the truth, because a lot of people saw the lies from Lifesite News. A lot of people are seeing it from the world over, and they're likely not going to see it, the truth, from Catholic Vote, The Pillar, Reason and Theology. It's incredibly unlikely. So do what you can to try to help reach people with the truth. If you see somebody disseminating this fake news, at least share this information with them, and certainly hit that subscribe button, because you'll help me grow the channel so I can reach more people. YouTube will recommend this to more individuals the more you help me grow this platform. So please help me do that. All right, that's going to do it. Y'all have a good one. Hey everybody, just wanted to tell you about my new free ebook, Church Chaos, Biblical Insights for Confused Catholics. If you are a confused Catholic and you're thinking about leaving the Catholic Church, or you're thinking about converting to the church, but you see that there's a crisis in the church and you're just unsure, this is the book for you. Again, it is free. Just simply go to reasonandtheology.com. You'll see a pop-up that comes up on your screen. Just simply click on it and you'll put in your email and it will provide you the free PDF ebook right then and there. Please check it out if you're confused about the situation in the Catholic Church today. reasonandtheology.com. Are you a Catholic thinking about converting to Eastern Orthodoxy? Or are you a Protestant discerning whether or not to become Catholic or Eastern Orthodox? If so, I have the book just for you. It's called Answering Orthodoxy. It engages all of the arguments that Eastern Orthodox use against the Catholic Church. I respond to all of them. I show that they are in error, and in fact, they're inconsistent, because the things that Orthodox are objecting to are in fact found in their own tradition. So the fullness of the faith can only be found in the Catholic Church. Check out the book right now at shop.catholic.com for your copy today. Are you confused about how Catholic teaching authority works? With encyclicals, papal bulls, councils, and many other things, it's easy to get confused on what is authoritative and what is not. Fortunately, at maximusinstitute.com, I have prepared a course explaining the magisterium from A to Z. Visit the website and check out the course Understanding the Magisterium for more information.